morning. I'm Hidalgo County Judge Richard F. Cortez, Chairman of the Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1. Today's board meeting is being conducted within the parameters of Governor Greg Abbott's suspension of certain open meeting law requirements to the extent necessary to allow us to have telephonic and video conference meetings in response to this COVID-19 matter. Notice that this meeting has been posted online for at least 72 hours. The board is meeting by the use of Zoom software and telephone transmission, which allows two-way communications for members of the public during the public comments. The meeting is being broadcast live online. The recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date. The time is now 9:46, and we will start the meeting with a roll call with Precinct Number 1 Commissioner.
Good morning, David Fuentes, Precinct 1.
Good morning, Eddie Cantu, Precinct 2.
Good morning, Eli Torres, Precinct 4.
Richard Cortez, County Judge. That constitutes a quorum. Mr. Sassin, would you please lead us in prayer?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Hyman.
Dear Lord, this morning we thank you for your promises of love and protection. Thank you for watching over our district and our county family. Lord, I ask that you grant us hope, health, and healing to families and all individuals who are facing struggles today. We thank you for your blessing. We thank you for blessing us all with another day with our families and with our work. I ask, Lord, that you give us all the guidance and the knowledge and determination to effectively fulfill our duties of making the best decisions for Hidalgo County. And may we each recognize every opportunity to pass your blessings onto others every day. All this in your name. Thank you.
Amen.
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 Thank you very much. Did we have anybody sign up for open forum?
Not for drainage, Judge.
Okay, then we'll go over to the approval of the consent agenda.
Yes, sir, Judge. Approval of check register, payment of claims and bills is the only item we have on the agenda. We recommend approval.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion to second to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 5A, requesting approval of 2021 holiday calendar mirrors the same county calendar, sir. The same days that we had this year. We recommend approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion to second to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Well, we did try to put it that last year. I tried to put the national championship Monday or Tuesday, I guess it was.
Well,
Maybe this year I make it. Hey, maybe this year I get some backing because we seem to have a pretty good team that may make it this year. So there you go. There you go.
Need me to zoom in?
There you go. Okay, 5B, requesting approval of payment out of Texas Water Road reimbursement funds in the amount of $129,150.18. Yakarta Precinct 4 for construction of segment 1 of the Downtown County Rainbow Drain for periods as follows: pay period 13, pay period 14, pay period 16, pay period 20. Everything's in order. We recommend approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion second to approve. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Item C, requesting approval of memorandum of understanding by and between the Downtown Drainage District Number 1 and the City of Alton and relates to Texas Water Development Board Flood Infrastructure Fund, North Stewart Boulevard Drainage Improvement Project, pending final legal review.
So move.
It's a standard agreement.
We have a motion and second to approve. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Thank you. 6A, requesting acceptance and approval of work condition number 5 for the provisions of construction phase service for Texas Water Development Board Phase 1 Flood Control Project, the amount of $988,255.81 to award on-call professional training agreement number CFB 11705109919, BDC Engineering LLC, subject to legal review.
Move. Second.
We have a motion and second to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 6B, Phase 2 of the Downtown Master Drainage System regarding supplemental agreement number 9 between Downtown Drainage Number 1 and SMB Infrastructure Limited, approved on October 20th, 2020, Board of Directors meeting. Request approval of the following items. Item 1, approval of an agreed upon final construction cost estimate, $138,940,000 $1,974 with 38 cents for Hidalgo County section. So we have reviewed this estimate internally and worked with the engineer on the pricing and so forth, and we concur with the final estimate as stated.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
E2, approval of payment and issues of a manual check to S&B Infrastructure Limited in amount of $1,508,090.37 to bring amount paid to S&B Infrastructure Limited as basic service fee to no more than 8.1% of final estimated construction cost.
So move.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 7A1, requesting approval to lease 6 equipment operator 3 temporary positions, G10S1, and 2 equipment operator 4 temporary positions, G12S1. They were created October 13. Agenda item 77780 in preparation of Rainbow Drain Project.
You're not gonna need them anymore, Raul, or, but,
The next item, sir, will explain what's happening here. The reason we're doing this, sir, is we're gonna need actual positions, and that's what the next item is gonna do, to create these positions. Because of the actual work that we're doing, we're gonna need the more experience and more people that can actually have the benefits to go along with it. But we are gonna need them. So we're recommending that we remove these and create these on there too, to allow us to get the type of individuals that we need for this type of project, because of the type of equipment that we're managing. Temporary positions with no benefits is very difficult to acquire somebody with experience.
yeah, and are you gonna be paying these out of monies that we received from a grant? or-
Yes, we'll be getting,
Right.
we're gonna be funding it from the general fund and then getting the reimbursement back once we start the process of the Rainbow Drain for the Restore Act 7, or the 6.4 million that we have allocated for all equipment and personnel.
Okay, very good.
Mr.
Motion to-
Castillo, so at the end, you're adding 7 positions, right? That's what you're gonna do?
On the next position,
On the next
basically,
one?
we're leaving
Right.
and we're adding on number 2, right? So it's
Okay.
basically the same thing. Well, we had temporary, we're going permanent. We ran into a lot of issues. We went out for interviews, didn't really get any candidates that we felt could man the type of equipment that we have, the size and everything. So we felt that we needed to go this route to be able to create the positions that create what is needed. Excuse me.
Okay. Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 2, requesting approval to create 8 equipment operator 3 positions, G10S1, 5 maintenance 2 positions, G5S1, 2 equipment operators 4 positions, G12S1, and 1 truck driver 3 positions, G8S1, and 1 field supervisor position, G13S1. And again, this is all for the Rainbow Drain Restore Act that we're going to be doing. We have a meeting already scheduled this week with TCEQ. We've got our consultants on board, and from there, we'll start the process of the environmental portion that we need to get cleared. We feel very good about moving this project forward by the beginning of the year to actually start the construction of the actual cleaning of the Rainbow Drain.
Now, is this gonna be that detention facility that's part of that first phase?
It's going to be all the cleaning, sir. All of the 63 miles actually, because the Rainbow Drain and some legs that it has. We're going to basically restore that existing system to its original condition. It's a man-made system, and we're going to go back and restore it. There hasn't been much maintenance, so with the restoring of it and the clearing is going to create just additional capacity and flowage capacity that's not there right now.
Okay,
That's what this project will do.
all right, very good.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. 7A3, requesting approval of updated salary schedule.
So move.
Second?
Have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 8A, we do have an item, item 8, sir, we do have items in executive session.
Okay. Pursuant to subchapter D of chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, we'll be retiring to discuss real estate items, which will be subject to 551.072. Have a motion to retire to its closed session.
So move.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Okay, we're back from closed session. I believe it's 10 minutes after 10, and we do have some action items to take.
Judge, on the real property matters, I'm going to recommend that the board approve a motion to authorize Mr. Sassin to proceed as discussed on the two real estate issues that were discussed in the closed meeting.
Okay, and so we're going to take both of them.
Yes.
Okay, one we have a commissioner that's elected to abstain from any voting regarding the matter. Is that included therein?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, let the record show that Commissioner Fuentes has declared himself to abstain from voting on this matter because he feels he has a perceived conflict of interest. So I have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I believe that concludes all our agenda items.
That is correct. Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, thank you all. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Well, we'll go on to our Commissioners Court meeting. Well, good morning again. I'm Hidalgo County Judge Richard F. Cortez. Today's Commissioners Court meeting is being conducted within the parameters of Governor Greg Abbott's suspension of certain open meeting law requirements to the extent necessary to follow or to allow, for telephonic and video conference meetings in response to this COVID-19 matter. Notice of this meeting has been posted online for at least 72 hours. The court is meeting by the use of Zoom software and telephone transmission, which allows two-way communication for members of the public during public comments. This meeting is being broadcast live online. The recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date. The time is now 12 minutes after 10. I will call the meeting to order. We'll start with a roll call with precinct number 1 commissioner.
Good morning. David Fuentes, Precinct 1.
Morning, Eddie Cantu, Precinct 2.
Good morning, Ellie Torres, Precinct 4.
And I'm Richard Cortez, County Judge. That constitutes a quorum. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all. Today, we're honored to have the Honorable Arturo Guajardo Jr. will lead us in prayer.
Yes, good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Glad to see everybody's doing well. Let us pray. Dear Lord, as we gather this morning, we are grateful to be living in a democracy where many play a part in ensuring that the needs and the desires of our citizens are met. As our leaders work together to find solutions to difficult problems, we ask that you guide them and that you give them the wisdom to speak and act for the most vulnerable. We also ask that you continue to protect all of us from all disease and hardship, and that a vaccine to fight COVID-19 is quickly upon us. Lastly, we ask that you comfort those mourning their loved ones and that you offer courage and patience to all those going through difficult times. In your holy name, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Next item is the approval of the consent agenda.
Judge, Commissioners, with your permission, I'd like to pull from consent agenda items 8A1 and 2, 9A2, and 9J.
I skipped it. Make a motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the balance of the consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Judge, Commissioners, for the record, Commissioner Fuentes will be abstaining from any discussion and or action with respect to consent agenda item 8A, 1, and 2. Everything is in order?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for item 8A, 1 and 2. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. Judge Commissioners, consent agenda item 9A2. For the record, the correct contract number should be C-17-122B-11-28.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve with those corrections. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Judge Commissioners, consent agenda item 9J. For the record, the statute should read 263.152A1 and or 3.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next item is open forum.
Judge, can we move up a proclamation because we have some people waiting in the.
Absolutely. Let's go on to 11A.
Thank you, Judge. If you can, Jonathan, if you can allow April and Lily Flowers in.
Yes, Commissioner. They're joining.
There they are. So Judge and Commissioners, this month is Epilepsy Awareness Month, and we wanted to recognize the 15,667 citizens in Hidalgo County who have epilepsy. Our Precinct 2 office is lit up at night in purple. And we want to recognize the RGB Epilepsy Support Group, who's on Facebook. I see you, I hear you. And then we're going to have a proclamation read by the Flowers. Hi
Good
there.
morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. So, ready?
Yes.
Okay. Whereas Epilepsy Awareness Day is a nationwide effort of the Epilepsy Foundation to raise awareness about and change the conversation around the epilepsies, seizure, and side effects, as well as to improve and save lives through care, advocacy, research, and new therapies and education. And whereas epilepsy is a brain disorder characterized by recurrent and unprovoked seizures that can affect anyone at any age, at any time. And whereas epilepsy is a spectrum disease comprised of many diagnoses and experiences and includes a wide range of seizure types, comorbidities, control, severity, and outcomes varying from person to person. Whereas epilepsy is the fourth most common neurological disorder, approximately 3.4 million people in the U.S., including 292,000 in Texas, live with active epilepsy. And whereas approximately 710,000 Hispanics are living with active epilepsy in the U.S., and whereas it is estimated that 15,667 people in Hidalgo County have epilepsy, and whereas it is estimated that 5,200 senior citizens in Hidalgo County have epilepsy, and whereas an increasing number of people are diagnosed with rare epilepsies, which are largely complex, severe, chronic, and even life-threatening, and collectively, rare epilepsies account for a growing percentage of the epilepsy population. And whereas many treatments are approved to treat seizures, 30 to 40% of people with epilepsy still live with uncontrolled seizures, and the epilepsy-related medical costs associated with uncontrolled epilepsy are 2 to 10 times higher than those of controlled epilepsy. And whereas annual epilepsy-specific healthcare costs can be up to $19,749 per person, and 21% of people with epilepsy have been reported not being able to afford their prescription medications in the last year. And whereas people with epilepsy need access to affordable, comprehensive, physician-directed, and person-centered healthcare. Whereas 470,000 children live with epilepsy in the U.S., and students with epilepsy aged 6 to 17 years old have missed 11 or more days of school the past year on average, greater education and improved access to care is needed in schools, which can be accomplished by passing seizure-safe schools legislation nationwide. And whereas protections exist in the Americans with Disabilities Act and related civil rights laws, people with epilepsy still encounter discrimination in areas including employment, education, and housing. And whereas epilepsy can affect anyone with a brain, and anyone with a brain can affect epilepsy. And whereas through action together on Epilepsy Awareness Day and during other awareness initiatives, including International Epilepsy Day, National Epilepsy Awareness Month, and Brain Awareness Week, and any day of the year, we must increase public knowledge about the epilepsies and seizure first aid and change the way people think about the epilepsies and seizures.
Now, therefore, I do hereby proclaim November 16th, Epilepsy Awareness Day, to encourage Hidalgo County residents to take action together and use our brains to overcome the challenges of living with the epilepsies and accelerating therapies to stop seizures, find cures, and save lives.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 And carries. Congratulations and thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us and have safe travel back.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you for everything you've done for us.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
God bless.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Linda.
Okay, we're going now to open forum.
Yes, Judge. We have about 15 people over the phone and in person. Let me bring in the people that are on the phone.
Hi, does that mean I start now?
We have first Marco Lopez.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, under open forum, there is a 3-minute time limit. I will advise when there is 1 minute, and I will begin when you begin.
Sorry, Valde. I was just waiting for everybody because they're talking and stuff, so I didn't want to interrupt.
So
we're ready for you to start.
Like me?
Yes, sir. We're ready for you to start.
Okay. So
go ahead, Marco.
I just wanted to say that if I can give my time because I couldn't get one of my community members to get on here.
Just speak, Marco. We have 15 people.
Marco, just go ahead and speak. You have 3 minutes. I will advise when there's 1 minute. We have 15 individuals wishing to speak this morning.
Okay, my phone is like lagging or whatever. I can't hear y'all. Like I hear you all over everybody. Anyway, so I have one of the community members from one of the colonias and she wanted to talk, so I'm gonna put her on. Janet, ¿lista? ¿Lista? Te voy a poner porque ya estás aquí. Tienes 1 minuto, órale. Pero ponte en la cámara. Dale, Janet, ponte en la cámara.
Buenos días. Buenos días. Hey. Sí. Buenos días. Buenos días. Mi nombre es Janet Campos, represento a la colonia Eduardo 4, soy miembro de la LUPE. Yo quería comentar cómo se podría hacer para agarrar las lámparas que faltan en los lugares que están oscuros. Quería saber cuál es el procedimiento que se puede hacer.
Gracias, Janet. Did y'all catch that?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gutierrez?
Yes. Yes, we have Rosario Bravo.
Okay. Ms. Bravo? Ms. Bravo.
Aquí estoy.
Ok, tendrá 3 minutos y le voy a decir cuando le falta un minuto. Yo voy a comenzar cuando usted comience.
¿Ya?
Sí.
Buenos días, soy Rosario Bravo. Vengo de aquí de la colonia Eduardo 5. Soy miembro de Lupe Activa y quiero preguntar cómo va con el proceso del internet, qué está pasando y hasta dónde van y si nuestras colonias van a ser beneficiadas o quiénes van a ser beneficiados.
Gracias.
Gracias, Ms. Bravo.
Next, Jonathan.
Mr. Gutierrez, our next speaker.
Yes, next we have Shelby Powelson.
Hi, my name is Shelby. I'm 22 years old. This summer, I changed my voter registration from Cameron County to Hidalgo County. I went to vote in Wesco, Texas on October 14th at the poll location on Kansas City Road. I look different than the other voters. I wore an American flag shirt and a mask. I hate that I have to even put it this way, but I was the only white girl there. Everyone else was allowed to use their phones, but they kept telling me to get off mine. I watched them be nice to everyone else as I stayed there and stayed quiet. When I got up there, the lady was so rude and snatched my ID out of my hand, told me I wasn't registered to vote, that I must have done something wrong, that I wouldn't be voting in this election, and that I would not get to vote for my candidate, that I would need to try again in 4 years. She even pretended to call somebody, and I was able to see that she was not on the phone with anyone. The lady next to her said nothing. I walked out, posted about it on Facebook, and I got in contact with someone in Cameron County who told me I could do a provisional vote there, but I had to put down my family's business address because I do not have an address any longer in Cameron County. And now my registration is suspended. The point that I'm trying to reach here is that this election was too controversial to be professional. How come when we have a jury members must be unbiased, have no prior knowledge of a case to, go forward with the law? Imagine how many other 22-year-olds would have listened to that. I'm glad that I know my rights. I'm glad that I knew that that was not right. This is something that both sides can agree on. This isn't just a Trump versus a Joe Biden thing. This is the fact that this election was too controversial for the people to remain professional and unbiased.
1 minute.
And my voice has gotten nowhere. My affidavit has gotten nowhere. The lawyer has not gotten back to me. And I just want my voice heard. So thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to me. And God bless you all.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Next we have Mr. Fern McClarity.
Ms. McClarity, there is a 3-minute time limit, and I will advise when there is 1 minute.
I wish that y'all were here in this room. You put us in the hallway, and there's at least 25 people, and we're not allowed to go into Commissioner's Court, so shame on you. Each week, I come here and I speak to a television screen because I think it is important that you understand that the people you represent are not happy with the way this commission is handling the COVID-19 situation. You cannot manage the economy of 1.2 million people from behind a desk, especially when imposing a stay-at-home and shelter-in-place. I am here in the hallway at the courthouse annex. This building contains most of your administration staff, and there's no reason that you are not in this building doing your work also. Your most important function is to explain what the county is doing and present a plan for reopening the economy. Most people are dying in car accidents, cancer, heart attacks, than they are dying from this virus. And you are not shutting down the economy. You've never done that before for the other deaths. The members of this commission are not sheltering in place because they may be involved in a car accident. So what about this virus scares you? The majority of those dying are in elderly facilities and those with underlying conditions. Create a plan to ensure their safety. 95% of those that are 70 years of age survive. 99.9% of those that are below 70 years old survive. It doesn't seem to be a very difficult problem to solve unless the virus is being used to get more federal money. This is the most logical explanation of the situation which the county finds itself. The Hidalgo County Commissioners are willing to jeopardize the well-being of their citizens for $151 million for federal funds. This includes putting an end to Thanksgiving, Christmas, and all the economic benefits that come to our businesses. This is why you are not in the courthouse, and this is why our county judge and the judges are not holding trials. And today on the agenda, 14A1, you have a Blue Cat Rentals. I've got calls. Is it true that they don't have a dealer's license for selling new vehicles? 2, is there a conflict of interest? Whose relative loved one possibly owns part of this building or something? And 3, is it true that Rush Trucks out of FAR was $100,000 cheaper than what you're getting from this Blue Cat? Again, I've never seen people that were able to spend and waste so much money. And the people here today want to know if our election was honestly a good, clean one. And I'm hoping that you, as the commissioners and the county judge, get out of your rooms and find out for these people what their questions are today. And shame on you for not being here, and shame on you for making us stand in the hallway.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Next, we have Monica de la Cruz Hernandez.
Hernandez, there is a 3-minute time limit. I will advise when there is 1 minute, and I will start when you start.
Yeah.
Mr. Gutierrez.
Yes, good morning. Thank you, commissioners, for having me here today. I think we can all agree that Hidalgo County has had and currently has a voter fraud issue. This is no secret, and I don't think anyone that is on here listening here in this room or you on the screen can deny this. There is a great concern over the application for the mail-in ballots that were mailed out to the entire county using taxpayer dollars with no, and I repeat, no taxpayer approval. Shame on you. These mail-in ballots did more harm than good. It compromised our voter integrity. It demoralized our community and opened ourselves to a questionable election. What happened with our voter mail-in ballots does not make sense, and it does not, and it goes against logic. And let me give you one example. In the most controversial, heated presidential election of the century, my opponent, Vincent, had a higher percentage of votes than even Biden-Harris. You tell me how that is, that people did not vote for their Democrat nominee or their Democrat candidate, but they went straight to Vicente, and he had a higher percentage of votes. I tell you, this type of questionable actions will no longer be ignored. They will no longer be tolerated. And after this November election, we have proven that Hidalgo County is now a two-party system, and the Republican Party will stand up.
1 minute.
Commissioners, I ask yourself, and I ask you to look at the screen. Do not look down. Look at me. Look at me, who is speaking. You ask yourself, are you better than that? Will we continue to have a cloud over our county, our beloved county, of voter fraud? Or will you be the commissioner's court that stands up for Hidalgo? Will you be the commissioner's court that stands for integrity? Will you be the commissioner's court that stands for a fair election and the people? I ask you, commissioner's court, will you stand up for your people? God bless you, God bless America, and God bless Hidalgo County.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Next, we have Edward Caprel.
Thank you. Mr. Caprel? Mr. Gutierrez, is he on the line?
Shows to be in person. Edward Caprel.
Hi.
Good morning, sir. There is a 3-minute time limit. I will advise when there's 1 minute. I will start when you start.
Okay. My name is Ed Caprel, and I live in Hidalgo County, and I don't think I can follow the last talker. On COVID, I opened up the monitor this morning and it said, headline, 2,000 people die. Now, what kind of yellow journalism headline was that? Because 2,000 people was the whole ball of wax, and that was considered people that died with comorbidities, and of course, with the higher age, and they also, and most of the time, they had at least 1.8 comorbidities, were at least 78.6 years old, and they didn't explain any of that. So, and I wrote a letter to the DSHS of Texas, the county, the Texas Department of State Health Services regarding the reporting of the COVID. And for some reason, what we report is nothing like what they post. So I wanted to know why the posting reported by the county was so much higher than the posting that the Texas site put up on their dashboard. And I don't know if you can see this, but they report many, many cases, fewer and fewer fatalities, and yet many more cases, and it's down to 0 to 1 cases each day. And this is a letter I got back from DSHS. Thank you, Edward. Thank you for contacting the Department of State Health Services regarding coronavirus 2019. The fatalities chart on our COVID-19 dashboard reflects the improved fatality data from death certificates. So they improved it. The chart now shows fatalities by the date of death and of when the death was reported. The chart provides a clearer picture of Texas COVID-19 fatalities over time. It takes an average of 9 days for DSHS to receive a death certificate. Fatalities for recent days will appear lower on the chart until DSHS receives and reports all death certificates. In the chart legend, newly reported fatalities are the new fatalities reported to DSHS each day. These newly reported fatalities are highlighted on the date they occurred. So, and it's not just, even in Texas, I don't know if you can see this, but it's the same thing. Many, many reported cases, less and less deaths each day, and yet we are talking about lockdowns. I'm not sure why that is. Like in Florida, they're doing fine. Their cases are under control, and yet they don't have lockdowns. In New York, looks like a ghost town. Have you seen the pictures? We're headed that direction. So I just ask you, quit the lockdowns, please, for us. And I do feel for the people that are sick and have died of COVID, I feel really strongly. So it's not that. So please stop the lockdowns. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gutierrez?
Yes, sir. We have Manuel Pescador Jr. next.
Good morning, sir. There is a 3-minute time limit. I will advise when there is 1 minute, and I will start when you start.
Okay, so I'm here because I was actually a poll watcher for the first time, and I saw things that to this day are horrendous. I try to nurture my soul every day with something positive. What I saw at those election places is something I will never forget. I saw an extremely close relationship of city employees wearing city uniforms with the election judge. I saw and I heard election workers reach out to people that were voting, say, hey, your sister hasn't voted, right? She still has the same address, right? I saw the taking of electrical machines for voting like there were pizzas, okay? They were going in and out like they were serving free pizza. I saw IDs coming in like a stack of cards, 5 ID cards, one time. But when they caught me, I saw an election voting machine go out to a vehicle without the lady giving an ID. But because I stood there and I took down the license plate, then they get the ID. After the fact, and then the ID is given back and it's thrown inside the vehicle, dropped inside the vehicle, like it was some sort of drug buy. I saw a lot of things. And then the elections, a judge was sick and tired of me going outside to monitor. And they were doing anything they could to not let me poll watch. But what was even more extraordinary was that there was tacos. Guys, you can now give tacos and be voting. You can be voting, turn around and get a taco in Fort Texas. You can do that. I saw it. I even got a taco.
1 minute.
I got a taco. So you can be voting. You can walk 3 steps and get a taco. No drinks, but you can get a taco. And this was ushered in by the election judge. The mayor walks in, they get ushered in. Now, it's ironic, you just had a proclamation for the people with disabilities. I have a disability, and I need more than 3 minutes because what I saw did not take part in 3 minutes. Are you going to violate the ADA rules and not afford me 3 minutes? Guys, what I saw out there is horrendous. I can see now why you guys don't allow cameras. You had the city offices open, business as usual, picking up trash next to the voting machines. The bins were not even full. They were coming in every 20 minutes to pick up the trash cans. Why? How was the urgency? Why did we let a non-profit organization that is partisan
Mr. Guerra, we have Jacqueline Bice Lugo next.
Is she there, Jonathan, or is there anybody on the phone that you can bring up?
We already got through those.
Okay.
Okay. Can you let the next speaker know that they're up?
Yes, sir. I believe they can hear me in the hallway.
Oh, okay.
Jacqueline Bice Lugo. B. Jacqueline Bice Lugo.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, he's right here. Oh my gosh. I'm really nervous. I'm nervous. I'm fine. I can do this.
Good morning, Ms. Lugo. There is a 3-minute time limit. I will advise when there is 1 minute, and I will start when you start.
Good morning. Thank you for your time. And I'm just here to represent myself, my family, and my fellow American citizens that we believe this whole election was a total fraud. I don't believe myself, personally, we don't need mail-in ballots. You know why? Because people can stand in line in Walmart to buy CDs, DVDs, and PlayStations, and they're happy with their mask to standing in Walmart. So they should be fine to be standing in line for maybe like a few minutes to vote. What's more important, a TV, a DVD, or your vote for your country? So what I'm saying is, if you need to send mail-in ballots because people cannot go because they're sick, they're disabled, or they're elderly, I can understand. But a healthy woman like me, that I can just get up and go and vote, I don't need a mail-in ballot. So you can save the money. Don't send me a mail-in ballot. I can just go by myself and vote, and I'm very proud because I love this country. And by the way, I'm a Puerto Rican woman. I'm Hispanic, and I'm a Republican, okay? Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Mr. Gutierrez.
Yes. Yes, sir. We have Chelsea Lord Gotham next.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Chelsea Lord Gotham.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. There is a 3-minute time limit. I will advise when there is 1 minute, and I will start when you start.
Thank you very much. I am representing the RGV Trump train, and I have to tell you,
the participants that do attend the Trump train, they attend with a lot of reasoning. It is not just flag waving. There's no hype to it. If anything, it's a great deal of patriotism. And the patriotism dips down into a resurfacing of empowerment. And that's why I put as my subject, empowerment. As far as the Latino community, something very important that we can't dismiss is going on right now, from South Padre Island all the way up to Roma. People have woken up. The Latino community has been empowered, and they have been empowered to embrace who they are. And before we call ourselves anything, we're Americans. Right. In saying that, I have to tell you, if you just talk to any participant at the Trump train, from Cameron County all the way up to Stark County, they'll give you very, very valid reasons why they're attending. It's not just a flag wave. It's to embrace their rights. It's to embrace their patriotism. They understand their First Amendment, their Second Amendment. They know their Bill of Rights. And I have to tell you, you, the leaders, you've got to empower the people. And the way to empower the people is your response. Your response should be a thorough investigation with the fraud that is going on. Voter fraud from Cameron County all the way up to Stark County. We really need voices. We really need help and leadership. And Hidalgo County can
1 minute.
Thank you. Hidalgo County can first and foremost show that and be a really great example to show the people, their citizens, that they are owning up to the Constitution, to empowering the citizens as Americans and respecting them first and foremost as Americans. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Next we have, I believe it's Nathaniel Castillej. Castillej.
Good morning. There is a 3-minute time limit. I will advise when there is 1 minute, and I will start when you start.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Nathaniel Castillej. I'm Precinct Chair 96 for the Hidalgo County GOP. I was a poll watcher at the Edinburgh Annex Building and a poll worker at Lark Community Center. I in no way believe this was a fair election. From the start, the elections administration stacked the cards against us. North McAllen needed more polling locations, which was evident from day one at Lark, which had over 300 people in line to vote. I also witnessed the elections administration's appointed judge for Lark Community Center threaten one of our poll workers with jail for electioneering past the 100-foot marker in blatant disregard of our Texas constitutional rights. This is a theme we have heard around the entire county. Election judges were either intentionally or unintentionally, because they were not properly trained, denied our poll workers the constitutional rights to electioneer past the 100-foot marker, set up the polling machines, and view the transition of possession of ballots. I stand here before you to testify that this was not a fair election. After election, when this commission decided to send unsolicited pre-filled applications for mail-in ballots to everyone 65 and over, you all knew that there would be corruption, because every election you all sue each other in the civil war that is happening in your Democratic primary. And Judge Cortez, you know mail ballot fraud better than anyone. You narrowly won the 2005 mayoral election that was riddled with mail ballot fraud. That was 800 mail-in ballots. This election saw over 19,000 mail-in ballots with zero safeguards by our elections administration. I call for a vote of no confidence in
1
Hidalgo
minute.
County Elections Administrator. I call for sorry, I don't think everyone heard that last statement. I call for a vote of no confidence in Hidalgo County Elections Administrator Ivan Ramon. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you. Mr. Gutierrez.
Yes, sir. Next we have Ray Gonzalez.
Mr. Gonzalez, there is a 3-minute time limit. I will advise when there is 1 minute, and I will begin when you begin.
Good morning, may it please the court. My name is Ray Gonzalez. I'm a resident of Cameron County, but I appeared this morning before this honorable court as a former candidate for Congress for a district that includes a large portion of Hidalgo County. As far as I'm concerned, if I was willing to represent the fine people of Hidalgo County in Washington, D.C., then I should be willing to speak here today about an issue that affects us all. This honorable court took a step in the August meeting that affects the way elections are done in Hidalgo County, and the purpose of my comments this morning is to question, listen closely, the legality of your decision. Make no mistake, I want to see increased citizen participation in our elections. The more voters, the better. My issue is that however noble your intentions, your decision to mail every Hidalgo County resident age 65 and older an application for mail-in ballot may have offended the Constitution. Article 1, Section 4 of the Constitution clearly says that the time, place, and manner of holding elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof. If this was illegal, how did we not hear of it sooner, you may ask? Well, no one filed a lawsuit, at least not here. In Pennsylvania, a court held last Friday that Secretary of State's decision to allow ballots to be counted after Election Day was unconstitutional. Why? Because it was a decision that did not come from the legislature. On November 2nd, a court in California ruled that the governor's decision to send every registered voter a vote by mail ballot, quote, exceeded his authority, calling the decision, quote, an unconstitutional exercise of legislative power. Why? Because it did not come from the state legislature. Respectfully, my comments today are meant only to remind you that all decisions touching elections must come from the legislature, and that we do not suspend the Constitution because we are in an emergency. We serve the Constitution faithfully, no exceptions.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Next we have Adrian Peña Garza.
Good morning. There is a 3-minute time limit. I will advise when there is 1 minute, and I will start when you start.
Thank you. Good morning, Judge, County Commission, and members of our community. My name is Adrian Peña Garza, and I'm the chair of the Hidalgo County GOP. And I hope that that doesn't keep you from hearing what I have to say. I was born and raised in Hidalgo County, and I love this community very much. So much, in fact, that I advocate for fair and honest government and work fearlessly and tirelessly to elect leaders that represent our values. Leaders like Monica de la Cruz Hernandez, who according to the polls was shy a few points from winning this election. We can get all the poll watchers, all the election judges, all the volunteers in the world, but if cheating is taking place, we're basically chasing our own tail. Politics aside, we owe it to our community to be fair, transparent, and honest about how we conduct elections. I spoke up against our county tax dollars being spent to send mail-in ballots to unsolicited people 65 or older, dead or alive, whether they lived there or not. It opened up the window to unchecked and unregulated elections, giving an advantage to one party. We also brought up an issue about polling locations in Edinburgh and McAllen. Edinburgh having 80,000 people with 14 polling locations, and McAllen 220,000 people with 15, almost 3 times the size. Edinburgh is a Democratic stronghold, mainly because of UTRGV. Shouldn't this be a voting rights violation with a 10% of the Anglo vote? As a chair of Hidalgo County, I sincerely want to do the right thing. I've received countless messages and received numerous affidavits about some of the same issues that we've all heard down here. Voter harvesting, dead people voting, carried in vote, politiqueras, people voting twice, poll watchers being kicked out or not allowed to do their job, being told they can't get up, and put too far away to see potential fraud. Same vans coming every 30 minutes. We also got license plate numbers. I humbly ask that there should be a thorough investigation in Monica's race. Too many complaints about glitches, extended hour to vote that we were not in agreement with, poor treatment of poll watchers and electioneers, our volunteers being called wetbacks and told to speak English at the polling locations. I encourage our community to unite for fair and honest elections and not cave in to fear of the political bosses and their politiqueras that have stained this community. Did the members of this community get a notice for this canvassing? I didn't. I have no doubt that all people, whether you're Democrat, Republican, or Independent, want fair and honest elections. Do we honestly believe, commissioners, that there was no fraud in this election? God bless our country and God bless our state and our county of Hidalgo County. It's not easy for many of us to stand up here because we know what we're up against. It's a spiritual battle. And we are.
Yes, sir. Next we have John Guerra. John Guerra.
Good morning. There is a 3-minute time limit. I will advise when there is 1 minute, and I will start when you start.
Good morning. My name is Dr. John Guerra, and I'm a board-certified OBGYN. I've been practicing here in this Hidalgo County for the last 20 years. And I decided to get into the political realm because I believe that there's a conservative vote here that needs good explanation. And basically, my biggest concern is transparency that goes on during these elections. I really want to know, did our elections office audit the voter rolls and remove any people who have recently died because of COVID-19? And we've had 2,000 people that have died here in the county. And it's against my thoughts, being a physician and knowing and being and working in the hospital, you know, who is dying from COVID? Did the audit of the voters' rolls to remove any voters that had deceased at least within the last general elections? Have we audited the votes received by mail to determine if any of these deceased voters cast a ballot? Biggest theme here is the lack of transparency on election day. We know that some of the machines went down in some of the polling areas. And then you all at the very last minute, or really the elections office, gave another hour. As we've seen, that's unconstitutional. You should be responsible for this. You, all of you, because you are Democrats, you were voted in by the Democratic Party, not by the GOP party. And so therefore you are responsible for all of this at the end. Last of all, over 200,000 people showed up to the voting areas, and sending out this excess of around 65,000 mail-in votes, of which was about 19,000 that came in, realizing that that really didn't mean very much, because even after the polls were over these last 2 weeks, there hasn't been an increase in hospitalizations related to COVID-19. And yesterday, there was only 8 deaths. And so we need to realize that there may be some voter fraud going on here, but we as the GOP or the conservative vote, or those of us that are doctors and not politicians such as you all, okay, have a voice to be brought up in Hidalgo County. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you. And Mr. Gutierrez, I believe we have one speaker left.
Yes, sir. Sandra Witten.
Good morning. There is a 3-minute time limit. I will advise when there is 1 minute, and I will start when you start.
Good morning. Thank you, commissioners and judge, for allowing us to be here this morning. My name is Sandra Witten. I'm a resident of Webb County. I also ran for Congress in the Hidalgo County in the west side for Congressional District 28. Voter integrity is something that's important to every single member of your commission, as well as it is to the people in this room and people watching everywhere, not just in Texas, but around the world. America is held higher than most places, specifically because of how our voters and how our elections are supposed to be held. We're held to a higher standard. Our men and women shed their blood and tears on foreign soil to bring voter integrity and voter correctness to other lands. It's time for us to demand the exact same thing here in the United States, here in Texas. Texas, we lead in so many fields. Now it's time to lead in voter integrity. When I decided to run for Congress, I said that I would represent the people of Hidalgo County and 8 other counties. And if one voice is not being represented, we're not doing our job. Commissioners, judge, you all have already taken the oath. You are the legal voices for the people. It's time to be that voice. It's time to show the people that you really care about them, not about what anybody else's outside influence have to say. It's time to be bold. I tell my future constituents all the time, we must be bold to hold Texas, and now is the moment. This is not just about a congressional race. This is about your city council races. This is about a presidential race. This is about everything and everyone in between. We saw voter fraud in the Democrat primary. I'm a Republican. That shouldn't be my concern. But when voters are disenfranchised, it's everyone's concern. My potential opponent had less than 3%, and nobody stood up for her. A socialist. We couldn't be further apart, but it's my job to make sure that her voice got heard. Now I'm asking that it's your job, because it is your job, to make sure that things are done right. I appreciate every single one of you and the duties that you have to carry out. Please do not let this fall to the wayside, because the world is watching what Texas does next. Thank you, gentlemen and Commissioner.
Thank you. So Gutierrez, I believe that those were all our speakers.
Yes, sir, that's right.
Thank you, sir. Judge, I believe you're muted.
I'm sorry, next item, item 6A. This is just a continuation of getting our certificate of formation and bylaws for the Idaho County Regional Foreign Trade Zone put together.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item. Do we have somebody from the sheriff's office?
Sergeant,
Want to read it, Valde?
I believe we have the sergeant on the line.
Hey, good morning, Judge and Commissioners. This is Sergeant Colton back with the Sheriff's Office. Item 7A, we have jail commissary. 2102, it's the approval of certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor and appropriation of funds in the amount of $194,701.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Avila.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. For item 8A, we're requesting approval of the First Amendment of the 2018 Home Community Housing Development Organization Program Amendment between Hidalgo County Urban County Program and Proyecto Azteca.
So move.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And for item 8B1, requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under the Texas Local Government Code 262.024A4 for professional engineering services, construction material geotechnical testing services.
For approval.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carried.
And for item 8B2, presentation of the scoring grid for purposes of ranking by Commissioners Court of at least 3 construction material geotechnical testing engineering firms from the county's approved pool as graded and evaluated by the City of Hidalgo, the Urban County Program, and Hidalgo County Purchasing Department in connection with the funded through Hidalgo County Urban County Programs years 2018-2019 for the City of Hidalgo flood drainage funds. With Millennium Engineering with a 97.34%, L&G Engineering 95%, Fulcrum LLC Consulting Services with 85.67.
Move to approve the ranking.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the ranking. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And for item 8B3, authority to negotiate a professional engineering service contract with the number 1 ranked firm of Millennium Engineering for the provisions of construction material geotechnical test service for an Urban County Program years 2018-2019 City of Hidalgo flood drainage project.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carries.
Thank you,
Thank
Judge.
you, Mr. Avila.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Longoria.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. My name is Guillermo Palacios from Hidalgo County Community Service Agency. I'm presenting item A, discussion, consideration, and possible action to accept additional donation in the amount of $200 in gift cards from HEB for the use of Operation COVID Shield.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We want to thank HEB for this wonderful gifts.
Yes, thank you, sir. Item B, discussion, consideration, and possible action to accept the amendment to the PY 2020, the Community Service Block Grant Disaster Relief Supplemental Funds Contract 612-00003282 from the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs with authorization for Jaime Longoria to electrically sign any and all pertinent documents. This amendment, Judge and Commissioners, is the acceptance of Phase 2 funds awarded to assist clients affected by the 2019 disaster in the Monte Alto area.
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Yes, item C, discussion, consideration, and possible action to accept amendment to the PY 2020, the Community Service Block Grant and Coronavirus Aid and Relief and Economic Security Act, CARES Act, Contract 612-00003346 from the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs with authorization for Jaime Longoria to electronically sign any and all pertinent documents. This amendment had no change to funding, but only to the grant capabilities.
So move. Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item D, discussion, consideration, and possible action to accept amendment to the PY 2020, the Comprehensive Energy Assistance Program, DIHEAP contract number 582-00003156 from the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs with authorization for Jaime Longoria to electronically sign any and all pertinent documents. This amendment was due to discretionary funds that are held by the TDHCA and when not used, they're distributed to all agencies across the state.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
There's item E, discussion, consideration, and possible action to amend the CSBG CARES Act services matrix. Number 1, additional month service to each month category. And number 2, to include purchase of equipment necessary for distance education learning. This would extend assistance to our clients for up to 6 months across all categories in the matrix.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you very much, Mr. Boss.
Thank you so much.
Ivan Ramon.
Yes, I'm here. Oh, my camera fell. I wonder why. Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. It's okay that you don't see me, but you can hear me. Discussion on election updates. I wanted to tell this court that in 2016, we had a 51.97 voter turnout with 176,160 ballots cast. And this 2020, we had 222,593 ballots cast with a 56.70% voter turnout. It was an incredible voter turnout across the age groups, which I've been trying to keep you abreast of. And keep in mind that this is not the final numbers, because until today that we do canvassing and then we upload to the state will then have the final age groups, because we still had provisional ballots, we still had limited ballots, we still had the extended deadlines for the military and overseas. But right now, across the board, every age group had a great percentage of voter turnout. We start off with the 50 to 59-year-olds. They have 53,050 registered voters, and 34,356 of them so far noted went out to vote. Very, very high percentage. With the 60 to 64, 23,279 and 15,800 went out to vote. And this you can see across the percentages of age groups. So very, very proud of Hidalgo County, although, as we said, we do now have 392,604 registered voters. So still a percentage of voters that didn't make it out there to vote, and still working on making sure that Hidalgo County is well represented. We are getting ready for 2 city runoffs. The city of Mercedes has Commissioner Place 1 and Commissioner Place 3, and the city of Palmview has a council member Place 4, which is an unexpired term. We will start early voting week after next, with early voting starting on Monday, November 23rd, and running through Friday, December 4th, with election day on Tuesday, December 8th. Now, keep in mind that my staff is still having to work so hard, because before these runoffs can actually take place, we have to process over 15,000 updates to the voter database. So yes, we do work with the state, we do clean up the voter database, and in fact, true regular provisionals in 2020 were only 41. When I first came, we used to have anywhere from 600 to 800 provisionals, because people were not registered correctly, because they weren't in their right 911 address. And very, very proud of the database, and the fact that now the Secretary of State's office is very involved in making sure that we get all the reports having to do with death and duplicate voters. And it's an involvement with the Secretary of State's office, with the state office, and they in turn work very diligently across the nation. So our database is doing very, very well. As you all heard me mention many times as I came to this court, to let the community of Hidalgo County know that if they moved, that if a loved one passed, that they needed to let us know, because it's not as easy as me knowing that someone passed and I'm just going to remove them from the data base. I cannot do that by law. It has to be either a government report, or it has to be a loved one who submits their death certificate and removes them from the voter roll. So there are so many laws that govern us, and so many laws that I know our community and is not aware of, but it's something that's not easy and very, very challenging. I would like to take a moment to thank the Hidalgo County Elections Department, because the challenges that it took to put this election through are like none other. The hours worked, the dedication of an understaffed, and yes, very understaffed department to be able to put this election through was like no other. I also want to take an opportunity to thank our poll workers. Our poll workers are members of our community, and we had so many, and it's very understandable, that didn't come out to help us. So many of our experienced poll workers, because the challenges of COVID and the age average of our poll workers. So thank you to all the poll workers that did stick this through. 18 days of early voting. It was exhausting. 18 straight days of early voting. It included 2 Saturdays and Sundays, and 7 to 7, that means that the poll workers and my staff had to be ready to go by 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. Any challenges that we had were, well, that's what we do. We fix challenges and we make sure that we move forward. So I open it up to any questions that you all may have, anything that you may be wondering about. I'm here ready to respond before we get on with the canvassing.
Who is responsible to investigate any voter fraud?
Sir, I've got Ms. Ramirez here. I'm looking at her on the screen. Any type of alleged voter fraud has to be submitted in an affidavit, and there is a process for that. And it's certainly not my office because we're not a legal entity. We just run elections, but there is a process in place where this is then either turned into the Secretary of State's office or to the District Attorney's office, and they then have to investigate. But, we need names, we need specific factual in an affidavit.
The question was very simple. Who is responsible to investigate voter fraud?
Yes.
I didn't ask you for the process. I said who would be responsible.
It would be a legal entity like the Attorney General's office, the District Attorney's office, the FBI, the Texas Rangers. They have the authority to investigate alleged voter fraud.
Ms. Ramirez, is that correct?
Complaints can be filed with the Texas Attorney General's office, the DA's office, the Secretary of State's office, and the elections office has forms that are available to anybody that would like to file a complaint.
All right. Thank you very much for that information.
Have there been any complaints filed that we know of?
There are no affidavits filed from any citizens. We had 2 poll workers that did file affidavits, but on a different circumstance. But other than that, nothing has been received in my office. Have any of you received any affidavits?
Well, I think the reason is obvious why I asked the question. Obviously, there's been some allegations of some wrongdoings, and there's a process that anybody has to be able to follow the procedures in place to notify the appropriate authorities that are charged with that responsibility. So now you know. Anything else?
Okay, then we will proceed with item number 2, which is official canvassing of election results for the November 3rd, 2020 general election as per the Texas Election Code section 67.003. I ask for your patience because by law, I have to read every race and I have to call out the percentage or the raw data, and it has to go on the minutes. So I will begin. For President, Vice President in Hidalgo County, Joseph R. Biden and Kamala D. Harris were the winners with 58.04%. For U.S. Senator, Mary M.J. Hager with 55.83%. For U.S. Representative District 15, Vicente Gonzalez with 59.52%. For U.S. Representative District 28, Henry Cuellar with 64.29%. For U.S. Representative District 34, Filemon B. Vela with 61.53%. For Railroad Commissioner, Krista Castañeda with 59.69%. For Chief Justice, Supreme Court, Amy Clark Meacham with 60.25%. For Justice Supreme Court, Place 6, an unexpired term, Kathy Cheng with 59.77%. For Justice Supreme Court, Place 7, Stacey Williams with 59.08%. For Justice Supreme Court, Place 8, Gisela D. Triana with 60.98%. For Judge Court of Criminal Appeals, Place 3, Elizabeth Davis Frizzle with 61.51%. For Judge Court of Criminal Appeals, Place 4, Tina Clinton with 60.50%. For Judge Court of Criminal Appeals, Place 9, Brandon Birmingham with 59.60%. For State Senator District 20, Juan Chuy Hinojosa with 64.57%. For State Senator District 27, Eddie Lucio Jr. with 66.42%. For State Representative District 35, Oscar Longoria with 100% of the votes, no opposition. For State Representative District 36, Sergio Munoz Jr., 100% with no opposition. State Representative District 39, Armando Mando Martinez with 100%, no opposition. State Representative District 40, Terry Canales, 100% with no opposition. State Representative District 41, Bobby Guerra with 57.87% of the votes. Justice, 13th Court of Appeals, District Place 4, unexpired term, Migdalia Lopez with 58.99% of the votes. Justice, 13th Court of Appeals, District Place 6, Nereida Lopez Singletary with 63.18%. District Judge, 92nd Judicial District, Luis Manuel Singletary, 100% of the votes, no opposition. District Judge, 93rd Judicial District, Fernando Mancias, 100%, no opposition. District Judge, 139th Judicial District, J.R. Bobby Flores, 100% with no opposition. District Judge, 332nd Judicial District, Mario E. Ramirez, 100% of the votes, no opposition. District Judge, 389th Judicial District, Leti Lopez, 100% of the votes, no opposition. District Judge, 398th Judicial District, Pino Vasquez, 100% of the votes, no opposition. District Judge, 430th Judicial District, Israel Ramon Jr., 100% of the votes, no opposition. District Judge, 449th Judicial District, Rena Rodriguez Betancourt with 100% of the votes, no opposition. District Judge, 464th Judicial District, Joe Ramirez with 62.47% of the votes, and Sheriff J.E. Eddie Guerra, 68% of the votes. For the unopposed candidates declared elected, we have the following. County Court at Law number 7, Sergio J. Valdez. County Court at Law number 9, Patricia Patty Ocaña Olivares. County Court at Law number 10, Armando J. Marroquin. County Tax Assessor Collector, Pablo Paul Villarreal. County Commissioner, Precinct number 1, David L. Fuentes. County Commissioner, Precinct number 3, Everardo Ever Villarreal. Justice of the Peace, Precinct number 1, Place 1, Gilberto Sainz. Justice of the Peace, Precinct number 2, Place 1, Robert M. Bobby Contreras. Justice of the Peace, Precinct number 3, Place 1, Sonia Trevino. Justice of the Peace, Precinct number 4, Place 1, Charlie Espinosa. Constable, Precinct number 1, Celestino Avila Jr. Constable, Precinct number 2, Martin Marty Cantú. Constable, Precinct number 3, Larry Gallardo. Constable, Precinct number 4, A. J.R. Gaitan. This does require a vote.
Move to approve the election results as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Number 3 is official canvassing of election results for the South Texas Independent School District for their November 3rd, 2020 general election as per South Texas Independent School District Education Code 11.301A and BBBB legal. The following are the results to be true and correct. We start with School Board Trustee, Commissioner Precinct 1, South Texas ISD. We have Ricardo Ochoa with 54.58%. We have School Board Trustee, Commissioner Precinct 3, South Texas ISD, Natividad Nati Sosa with 67.36% of the vote.
Move to approve the results as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much, Mr. Ramon. And we do appreciate all the hard work that you and your staff did. This was unprecedented times with this election. So we appreciate all your efforts.
Well, thank you for those kind words.
Please thank your staff, Ms. Ramon, and yourself. Thank you so much.
Likewise, that was a lot of work. Thank you.
Ditto.
12A. Commissioner Torres.
Yes, sir. Item 12A, approval and acceptance of an interlocal cooperation agreement between Hidalgo County and the Edinburgh Consolidated Independent School District for the Avila Harwell Campus's Safe Walk Community Project off of Carmen Avila Road. Motion to approve.
Second.
You have a motion and second to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Sergio Cruz, Department of Budget and Management. Item 13A is a presentation of the third quarter health insurance report by Mr. Lou Arias from Gallagher Benefit Services. Mr. Arias?
Yes, good morning. Judge Cortez, Commissioners, this is Lou Arias with Gallagher Benefit Services. I'd like to go over the update of the health plan with claims through September. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Can you all see that?
Not yet.
It's coming. There it
Now
is.
we can. Now we can.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is an update with claims through September. You guys have seen this this format before. So I'll go over the financial monitor report for claims through September. This will give you a good snapshot of where the plan is, where your high cost claimants are. And then I'll also go over some of the COVID-19 updates that Aetna provided in their reporting. So moving along, I'll go ahead and get started with the medical summary. This says combined in the upper right-hand corner, and the reason it says combined is because it does include your run-out claims from the previous plan year. There's typically a lag, and some of those claims don't get paid until this plan year, so we include that in the numbers. And then you'll also note that for the first time here, we're starting to add in your benefits department cost as well. So when I give you whether there's a surplus or a deficit, it's not misleading. It also includes the cost for the benefit department as well. So we're looking at claims through September. I've got the head count up here, or the enrollment. Total number of members, 6,700. Your medical claims are at 2.1 million, a little bit higher than, actually higher than August and higher than July. Typically third and absolutely fourth quarter, typically we start to see a spike in those claims just because of the timing, people meeting deductibles. If you look at the next line, your pharmacy claims are at 706,000, higher than your previous month, but lower than July. The stop loss reimbursements that have come in, that's the amounts over the $300,000 ISL mark. You had $54,000 in reimbursements. We come up with a total net claims payment of 2.7, almost 2.8, which comes out to about $712 per employee per month. Now we look at your fixed costs. So your fixed costs are your admin fees that Aetna charges to administer your plan. We look at the benefits cost, which was included in this month at $62,483. We also include the stop loss premium, which is the insurance that pays for any amount over the $300,000 ISL mark. And then we add that all together and we come up with our total fixed cost of $319,000 or $81 PEPM. So the total plan cost is $3.1 million. We then add in your employer contributions of 2.5, employee contributions of $275,000. Now you're at 2.8. We look at that 2.8, which is your budgeted cost for this month, and your claims were at 3.1. So this, looking at the bottom highlighted area, your plan is still running very well, but this was the first month that you did have a deficit month. So your plan now, including the run out and including your department cost, you're at a $1.2 million surplus, or 94.9% of your plan. Very quickly, this is the same. This is very similar, only this does not include run out. However, it does include your department costs. I won't go through the September, August, and July numbers, but I'll go straight down to the bottom. It's very similar. It just takes out the run out amount. So you're still at 93.1%. You do have a surplus of 1.7%. Your plan is running well. If we look at where you were last year, you were running at a $671 deficit, $671,000 deficit. You were at $21.3 million paid out. This year you're at 23.4 for the same time frame. So the difference is $2 million. But again, you still are running very well. You have a surplus. You're only at 93.1. This particular month in September, like I said, was the only month or your first month that you've had a deficit. This slide here is just the amount that I talked about in the first slide, which includes the run out of $3,400. Those are claims that were paid in this plan year that were actually incurred in last plan year. So in a nutshell, quick snapshot, your medical summary, 63% of your cost is for medical expenses, 25% of cost is for pharmacy, 4% of that is your fees, which Aetna charges for you to administer your plan. 6% of that is for the actual insurance of stop loss at the $300,000 ISL limit. 2% of it is your department costs. Your plan is running at $2.1 million, $2.1 million with a surplus at a surplus of $2.1 million, or 87.1% of loss ratio, and your surplus does not include your office overhead. I'm sorry, the surplus does not include the office overhead in Vera Clinic. That actually only should say, sorry, I apologize. This should say only Vera Clinic. It does include your department costs. So I apologize for not changing that. Let's look at your large claimants. This is what we this is what we really look at on a month-to-month basis. These are your folks that are at 150 or half of your $300,000 ISL. You currently have 2 people that we've started receiving reimbursement over the $300,000 ISL. I do want you to take note of claimant number 5, which is a COVID-19 claim, and that may account for the deficit that you've had this month. It was $237,000 on one person, and I believe that's the first COVID-19 claim that's this high for the county. So we'll keep an eye on that, keep tracking it month to month. Your large cost claimants, I'll also just point out that the majority of them are the actual subscribers, the employees. We only have one spouse. For your COVID-19 report, this is provided by Aetna, and it's run through the last week of September. And your claims activity for the current week, for that week, were $29,000. If the cumulative total from March, when we started tracking COVID, to September was $583,000. You had 86 tests for that week, 1,600 from March to September. You had 73 unique claimants, and unique claimants and tests were 78. You can see where the light green is testing and the green is the actual test itself and lab and claims. Your highest months were July and August. You're starting to have a little bit of an uptick here in September. And then you look at your claims costs here. Your highest claim was in August. And I believe that's when that claim at number 5, claim at $200,000 hit. There was a little bit of a lag. You're starting to see a little bit of a downturn here. If we look at your telemedicine for your COVID, you've spent a total of $32,000. For your non-COVID, it's almost $300,000, which I want you to take note at. This is actually very good because not only are your folks using it for COVID during this, this COVID pandemic time, but they're also using it for all other things other than COVID-19, which saves the county money. Your COVID-19 telemedicine claims, there was 29 for that week, 455, and then your non-COVID, 184 for that same week, 5,000 total through September. In a nutshell, just a snapshot, your plan is still running very well. We continue to be in a surplus, a nice healthy surplus. You only have 1 month that you had that deficit in that September, and we'll keep an eye out on that. Typically, you will see your highest utilized months this fourth quarter because folks have met deductible and may start to use that to take advantage of it before starting over in January. Are there any questions?
I have 2 questions. I just have
yes,
2
sir.
quick questions. One,
yes, sir.
Just to remember, did we keep premiums the same as last year?
We did. If you'll recall, when I reported last time, we went through the stop loss as well, and we also went through projections. We did not make any plan changes, and there were no changes in your contribution or premiums.
So that and the reason I say that is because our contributions aren't percentage-wise any higher than they were last year because our rates stayed the same, correct?
That is correct, and so did the plan.
Yeah, so your comparative analysis really showing a savings like that really is a dollar for dollar, nuts and bolts, apples to apples comparison, which is great. The second question I have is, do you, from last year's claims experience, do we have any idea of how much of the fourth quarter is going to eat into that reserve or that experience savings so far in the first 3 quarters?
I don't have a comparison comparing last quarter and what we project going forward. What I can tell you is when we did the cost projection for your new plan year, which would have projected forward to this quarter, your projection, which is why we did not change the contributions or rates to your health plan for your new plan year. I don't anticipate it being higher or that much of or more of a spike than you saw last year, because we projected we asked that you put in, I think, less than 1% of an increase. I think it was 0.05 recommended increase to your rates, which is why we held them steady. We don't, a lot of our groups are asking very similar questions. Unfortunately, we don't have a crystal ball because we don't know how much of the claims are COVID. COVID claims aren't having that much of an impact. It was the non-COVID that may have been postponed or canceled. And the way things are going now through the state, and at least in this region, there might be once again, like we saw in the other months, where those non-COVID surgeries and what have you, or non-essential, may continue to be postponed.
And the good news for us is that if you were to net out the COVID claims, we're actually even having a better year in as far as experience is concerned.
Correct, and our actuaries are very. They make sure that they point that out to us, that you just be cautious. You're having a better year, but COVID has definitely affected it. I think earlier in April we did a COVID impact study, and it showed that the impact to COVID was actually going to be in the negative. It would be to the county's benefit because of the non-COVID, non-essential stuff being canceled or postponed. So, I mean, it's great that we have a surplus, but we just need to remember that when the COVID, some of the shelter in place and some of the upticks start to come back down, that's when we may see some of those non-essential surgeries and elective surgeries come back.
Yeah, and that's true. That's true for us. The CARES Act, helps us out a little bit, but you're right. Those elective procedures, when they come back, they'll make a difference. But yeah, I mean, as far as this year goes, I guess that's all good news that you're giving us right now. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
We're very proud of the wellness programs that the county has put together. Is there any way to quantify the benefit of those wellness programs having?
Well, what we certainly can start doing, and I started working with the folks over at the Vera Clinic, and I know Diana takes care of a lot of the wellness, and we'll provide you with those reports. We're getting the same reports, and so that she and I weren't, putting the same information together. She can tell you about the utilization piece. We're looking at starting to get the financial pieces together and start looking at the cost of what the clinic is costing, and then start projecting what kind of savings that causes to the plan. What I can tell you, and I'm sure I'm not the first one to tell you this, is that when it comes to wellness plans, one, it's all about how many people actually participate, and two, your wellness programs have a direct impact on claims, but it's not an immediate impact. Sometimes you'll see a little bit of an uptick in prescriptions and labs and PCP visits, but that's a good thing because that means we're starting to have folks go in, and the whole idea is early detection to avoid future high-cost claimants. So right. That comes maybe 2 or 3 years down, where we can actually show and quantify how many folks or what the cost avoidance was by having these wellness programs in place.
Now, do you know that whether the rules allow us, I mean, we're seeing obviously benefits, and I can see the benefits because I know I feel better when I work out than when I don't work out. Is this something that we can require employees to participate in, or that's strictly voluntary?
So there's a couple ways. There's a couple ways you can do it, and you can choose, I guess, the carrot or the stick. You can't make them participate in these wellness programs. What you can do is there are some groups, and some groups are hesitant to do it, but there are some groups that say, for those of you who complete your health health assessment online and go get your annual blood draw and your physical and upload it and notify, it goes into the system. I know Gallagher does that with us as employees. Then we get a flat dollar amount off our portion of what we pay to the health plan, or our rate goes down by $30 a month if we do it. And if we choose not to, it stays the same. Then they call it like a surcharge. So it's not. There's a carrot. That's the carrot. If you don't do it, you still pay the rate. And then some groups do the opposite. The rate is the rate. It's at no cost to the employee. But if you don't participate, then they will surcharge you. Start baby steps, $10, $20 a month until you do. And there's usually a time frame that they allot folks to do that. There's a bunch of different ways that you can do this. Those are some ways that do it. I do have some groups like yourselves that are some funded that look at that. But again, it's either the carrot or the stick, and which way you'd rather go.
You're our consultants, and one of your duties to us is to advise us of the various things that can help us not only have a more healthier workforce, but also to help us with the cost of that. So we would appreciate if there's any ideas such as this that will help us, get healthier employees and lower costs, that you offer them to us for our consideration. Thank you.
Yeah, yes, just two last quick comments. There are some supplemental insurance groups that incentivize people to get certain tests done. And if you do the test, like a pre-cancer screening, if you do that, they send you a check because again, early detection will help minimize the costs of claims down the road. And then the other thing, Lou, with respect to what Judge Cortez was mentioning about doing an assessment or an analysis on how much of an impact some of these programs have made, I'd like to see if you could somehow quantify the shift of utilization from emergency room to telemedicine. You talked about how those numbers increasing are beneficial to us, and I agree with you because of the reduced number of claims, larger claims, because of emergency room versus telemedicine, but also, if there were some other factors that led to savings that you might see in the utilization from your efforts. But if you could add that into the quantification of savings that Judge Cortez was talking about, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, I will do that. I will include that in the next update.
Yeah, your report of what's happened, it's a report of what's happened. Okay, or simpler numbers. We chose you to be our consultants because of your experience in excellence, and we're looking. If we can't figure out what the best practices are, and somebody else figured out what the best practices are, then we want you to share those best practices with us, so that we can so that we can follow them, and that's basically what I'm asking you to do.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate the reporting of information, but we value more your suggestions of how to even make it even better with time.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
If I can make a comment. When we started the Wellness Initiative a year and a half ago, we created a Facebook page, Hidalgo County Employee Wellness. And I would think that we would need, more of our leaders on this page to at least see what's happening countywide. We have 623 members and 4,000 employees. So, I want to congratulate the people that are on there so that we can support each other. People post, workouts, what they're eating, what they're not eating, the challenge that they're going through, how they've improved their health. There's opportunities out there. It's how much we want to participate. And Mr. Arias, I appreciate the report. I like how you've shown us where we're either improving or not improving. And so that's very helpful, and we're able to make adjustments. This is the first year of my 6 years that I've ever seen any of these reports. So I really appreciate it.
Real quick comment I'd like to make is just keep in mind the Prudent RX program that we implemented, that you all decided to implement, will start taking effect January 1. And that was because we noticed the significant spike in specialty drugs. And so my reports will start including after 1/1 that report, so that we can show you and prove that that program is in fact saving the county some money, because you had a very small number of people taking specialty drugs, but it was a very large percentage of your pharmacy spend. And so we look forward to showing you those numbers after January 1 when that program goes into effect.
And that's the type of initiative that we were looking for. Judge Cortez is saying if we have other opportunities, we don't forget that. Unfortunately, the deferring of that into next year is we're not seeing the benefits quite yet. But keep advising us of programs like that where we could really institute some savings into our program.
Absolutely.
Great job, though. Thank you. Thank you, Lou.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Moving on, Judge Commissioners, item 13B, discussion, consideration, and action to approve the ratification of necessary CARES Act relief fund expenditures as listed on Exhibit A, totaling $86,353.92 to cover costs not accounted for in the current budget. It cannot be lawfully funded by line item, allotment, or allocation in connection with the ongoing COVID-19 public health emergency. The court, having reviewed the agenda item briefing, herein finds that such expenditures are reasonable and necessary for their intended use.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Item 13C1 is approval of certification of revenue that's certified by the county auditor in relation to the insurance settlement proceeds and appropriation of funds into the Precinct 2 Parks expenditure account in the amount of $8,956.30.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Item 13C2 is approval of 2020 appropriation of funds in the amount of $10,000 from the Constable's Precinct 1 Chapter 59 Fund.
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And item 13C3, 1 and 2 is approval of certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor in relation to revenues collected by the DA's Check Fraud Division in the amount of $24,440.99, and also the approval of the obligation of funds from the Check Fraud Division in the amount of $34,940.08 to cover a fund deficit.
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Judge, thank you. And we'll continue to work with Ms. Hualpa on the Wellness Division, with Ms. Vasquez that leads the Employee Benefits Division, and Mr. Arias to provide the court with that quantitative analysis as far as to the benefit of the wellness program, and then any other thing that we can do to improve the health benefit plan. Thank you, Judge Commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Salazar.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. My name is Betsy Roque, and I'll be presenting on behalf of Ms. Salazar in the Purchasing Department today.
Okay.
So, item 14A1. Are we proceeding with that one, or will it be taken into executive session?
Recommendation is to take it up later.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Counselor.
Our recommendation is to take it up later.
Okay. 14A2, presentation of qualified vendor submitting the lowest and responsible bid for the proposed of award and approval of contract to Patina Fire and Safety for RFP number 2020-367-10-28-ABV for Hidalgo County Fire Extinguisher Equipment and Maintenance.
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
A3, requesting authority to exercise the first of three one-year extensions as provided in the current interlocal cooperative agreement, contract number C-19-303-11-26, under the same terms and conditions with the City of Hidalgo for the use of city-owned building by the Health and Human Services Department and WIC.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Item 14B1 for Precinct 1, acceptance and approval to execute AIA document A133-2009, guaranteed maximum price amendment number 1 between Hidalgo County and contractor Econ Group LLC for the Sunset Park Operations Facility project through contract number C-18-181A-03-26 in the amount of $1,663,131.00, with authority to issue a notice subject to final specifications and drawings.
I have a quick question on this. Has everything with the auditor been satisfied?
Yes, we received the specifications this morning. We're still pending the drawings that still needs to be addressed. And let me see.
So they did submit the paperwork this morning?
Yes, sir. Yes, Commissioner.
All right. Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Item C1 for Precinct 2. A, acceptance and approval of work authorization number 2 with an estimated cost of $762,090.95 as submitted by project engineer, LNG Consulting Engineers, to provide an environmental reevaluation, row acquisition services, and additional design survey, row mapping, and PS&E only needed for outfall of segment 1 for the Precinct 2 Nolana Loop project from FM 1426 Raul Longoria to FM 907 Alamo Road through contract number C-17-088-04-05.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item B, pursuant to current contract with LNG Engineering under Article 14, a request for approval by engineer to permit the subcontracting of Vic Ray and Associates, Inc. and Amatera Environmental to provide design, survey, row mapping, and environmental services in connection with the aforementioned contract and project in 14C1A.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries.
14D1 for Precinct 4, acceptance and approval of final negotiated AIA form of agreement A101-2017 between Hidalgo County and NM Contracting LLC, which will be contract number C-20-208-11-17 for construction of new mechanics shop in Precinct 4, subject to final review and approval as to legal form.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor say aye.
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 Carries.
14E1 for the IT department. A, discussion, consideration, and action to approve a necessary CARES Act relief fund expenditure to cover costs not accounted for in the current budget and cannot be lawfully funded by a line item, allotment, or allocation for Hidalgo County in order to assist with county functions in compliance with public health measures related to the ongoing COVID-19 public health emergency, with establishing a Wi-Fi project to assist the citizens with distance learning, including technology improvements, as well as improving telework capability. The work, having reviewed the agenda item briefing attached herein, find that such expenditure is reasonable and necessary for its intended use.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries.
B, requesting exemption from competitive bidding procurement requirements under Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 262.024A1 and 2 as attached herein.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries.
C, acceptance to adjust the original statement of work previously approved on August 4th, 2020 under agenda item 76684 for additional Wi-Fi equipment, material, and professional services with Inside Public Sector, Inc. through their Omnia awarded contract 4400006644 and approval of quotes. I do have to make a verbal correction here. We're adding one additional quote, Q 1028-2020 MM, with authority for county judge to execute document if needed.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
14F1 for the Health and Human Services Department. Discussion, consideration, and action to approve a necessary CARES Act relief fund expenditure to cover costs not accounted for in the current budget and cannot be lawfully funded by a line item, allotment, or allocation for the Hidalgo County Health Department IT technology and data communications enhancement purchases in order to assist the county public health expenses addressing the ongoing COVID-19 public health emergency. The court, having reviewed the agenda item briefing herein, finds that such expenditure is reasonable and necessary for its intended use.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
B, exemption from competitive bidding requirement pursuant to Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 262.024, A1 and 2.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
And C, requesting approval to purchase the following IT technology and data communications enhancements, which will be in 3 phases through their DIR contract with Inside Public Sector, Inc., subject to 1295 form.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
D, 14G1 for facilities management. Discussion, consideration, and action to approve a necessary CARES Act relief fund expenditure to cover costs not accounted for in the current budget and cannot be lawfully funded by a line item, allotment, or allocation for the purchase of turnkey services, hardware, accessories, and installation for the county-wide automatic doors project in order to assist with county public health functions in mitigating the spread of the ongoing COVID-19 public health emergency. The court, having reviewed the agenda item briefing attached herein, finds that such expenditure is reasonable and necessary for its intended use.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
B, exemption from competitive bidding pursuant to Texas Local Government Code 262.024, A1 and 2.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
C, requesting approval for the purchase of turnkey services, hardware, accessories, and installation for the county-wide automatic doors project through Mood with a total amount of $799,900.00 under requisition number 00423-870.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
14H1 for the Sheriff's Office, requesting approval of work authorization number 3 with an estimated cost of $13,121.94 as submitted by engineer B2Z Engineering to provide preliminary design and construction management for Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office Memorial Wall Project located in Precinct 4.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
B, pursuant to current agreement provision, B2C Engineering is requesting authorization to subcontract Janine Engineering for structural engineering analysis and design of memorial wall.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
2, presentation of sealed quotes received for the purpose of award and approval of the contract to reasonable vendors submitting the lowest and best quote while meeting all specifications and or requirements as attached here to, but in no event may exceed the statutory bid threshold of $50,000 for all Hidalgo County law enforcement agencies for the purchase of straw felt hats with Milano Hat Company.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next one.
Let the record show that everybody voted aye. Motion passes.
3A.
Excuse me, I'm gonna actually vote no on that one.
Okay, let the record show that Commissioner Fuentes voted no. Let the record show that County Judge Richard Cortez voted yay, so the motion passes.
14.3A, approval of exemption from competitive bidding under Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 262.024A4, a professional service.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carried.
And B, pursuant to Government Code 2254, under demonstrated competence, acceptance and approval of negotiated contract C-20-401-11-17 with Dr. Ivan G. Melendez for the provision of physician services for inmates for the Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office Adult Detention Center.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Judge Commissioners, item 15A, 1 and 2, there is no action to be taken this week. Items, Commissioners, I will ask that we take that after closed session, and we do have some closed session items, Judge Commissioners.
Okay, pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, Section 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, and 551.087 will be retired to closed session to discuss those items. Any action items to be taken will be taken in open session when we return. I have a motion to retire into closed session.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we're back from closed session, and we do have some action items to take.
Yes, sir, Judge Commissioners, with your permission, Ms. Betsy, is she on the, she's still on the call? I mean, you could please go back to that agenda item, which is specific to item 14A.
Yes, 14A1A, discussion, consideration, and action to approve a necessary CARES Act relief fund expenditure to cover costs not accounted for in the current budget and cannot be lawfully funded by a line item, allotment, or allocation for the purchase of roll-off and grapple trucks, canisters, containers, and other related accessories, items, attachments, or components in order to assist the county functions, with county functions related to medical and public health measures addressing the ongoing COVID-19 public health emergency. The court, having reviewed the agenda item briefing attached herein, finds that such expenditure is reasonable and necessary for its intended use.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
B, requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements pursuant to Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 262.024A1 and 2.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
C, authority to purchase one grapple truck from Blue Cat Rentals through their PCA awarded contract OD-328-20 in the amount of $269,000.00, subject to compliance with Form 1295 and Hidalgo County established and approved requisition and purchase order protocol.
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor say aye.
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 Carries.
D, discussion and applicable action on the purchase of 9 roll-off trucks through the following cooperative purchasing programs, subject to compliance with Form 1295 and Hidalgo County established and approved requisition purchase order protocol. Option 1, from Rush Truck Center. 9 2021 Peterbilt 348s delivered by April 2021, as there is currently no stock and they need to be manufactured through their buy-board contract 601-19 in the amount of $1,310,848.38. Option 2, through Rush Truck Center for 4 2020 Peterbilt 567 to be delivered by end of year, and 5 2021 Peterbilt 567s to be manufactured and delivered within 60 days of the purchase order being released through their buy-board awarded contract number 601-19 in the amount of $1,665,200.00. Or option 3, from Blue Cat Rentals for 3 2020 Mack GU 533s or 6 2021 Peterbilt 348 to be delivered by end of year through their PCA awarded contract OD-328-20 in the amount of $1,413,000.00.
Let the record show that the December 31st should read December 30 of 2020.
Motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve option 3. Is that what you?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Second.
3.
We have a motion. There was a second?
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to select option 3. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
E, discussion and applicable action on the purchase of 30 roll-off containers subject to compliance with Form 1295 and Hidalgo County established and approved requisition and purchase order protocol. Option 1, from WasteQuip, 30 containers through their buy-board awarded contract number 599-19 in the amount of $158,658.00 with an estimated delivery of 5 weeks from release of purchase order. Or option 2, from Roll-Offs USA for 28 containers through their buy-board awarded contract number 599-19 and 2 containers procured under open market with delivery by 12/31/2020 in the amount of $150,588.00, which I'm assuming that one will also be a reflection of 12/30/2020.
Yes.
I make a motion to approve option 2.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve option 2. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
Great job, Betsy. Thank you.
Thank you. Judge Commissioners, if I may, item 16. I'm going item 16A1 CARES Act funds, or item 16A county response to disaster health emergency 1 CARES Act funds. I'd like for the court to consider the approval of the agreement with ESD number 2, subject to final legal review.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries.
And again, Judge Commissioners, item B, I'm asking the same for the court to approve the understanding or the agreement with first responders, ambulance companies, subject to final legal review.
I'll move.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item B is measures necessary to preserve public health and safety. The court has just taken some action regarding government operations, including but not limited to essential functions. Judge Commissioners, as I have reported week in and week out, we continue to follow CDC recommended guidelines, social distancing, facial covering. As I've stated, our constituency Doing business with the County of Hidalgo is first and foremost their health and safety, as well as our employees of the County of Hidalgo. And if I may, Judge, that's all I have for item C. If I can go back to item 19, open session, real estate acquisition appropriation for same, there's no action to be taken. Item B, pending and or potential litigation, no action to be taken. Item C, discussion, consideration, of possible action regarding response to public health emergency. The court has already taken some action. Judge, Commissioners, I am recommending and asking for settlement authority under the claim of Juan Jose Ramos in the amount of $2,508.27.
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
There is no need for item 20, closed session, or 21, open session. There's no action. And for the record, item 17, no, I'm sorry. Item 18A, there is no action to be taken. And item 18B, there is no action to be taken. Judge, Commissioners, we have adjournment.
Are we having court next week?
Yes, sir. We are having court next week. It is the following week that I will work with you all, given that it's going to be a very, very short how much we will have for court.
Is it in the afternoon or in the morning?
Next week is it's a planned afternoon, but I'm working with you with each of your schedules for next week. So that may change, but
Next week is a short week.
Yes, next week is a short week. So we're having court next week.
Okay.
That's scheduled to be a afternoon meeting, but again, I'll work with your schedule to see if that changes. It is the following week that I'll be working with you all as to a commissioner's court meeting, because we'll be here. It'll be a very, very short week next week for the fall.
Okay.
Okay.
Judge, you good for a motion to adjourn?
Yes, I'm good with the motion to adjourn. In fact, I'm hungry, so I would appreciate it.
I'm here. I'm here for you. I motion.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good day.